was nice to be out there with the full group. We had the rookies back, and then we had the injured players and quarterbacks. So we staged. We had some stages here, but now to get everybody out there practicing and working together, it's really nice to be at that point. And it was great to see as many fans as we had here this morning. They had to get up early, get out here, so fantastic. Look forward to seeing the same thing here tonight. I thought the morning practice was pretty good. I thought it was good from the perspective that we haven't been together as a group, and we did, the meetings last night and reviewed the material, but hadn't worked against each other since the spring, and had very few procedural type issues, penalties, operational things. All those things were crisp, which is nice to see. That the level of communication on defense here in this first practice was sharp, and look forward to seeing more of that as well. And the challenge always during camp is with the volume of information that you have going in, to be able to maintain what we saw here this morning, and that'll be an ongoing challenge for all of us. So welcome back to all of you, and look forward to a great camp. With that, I'll open up for questions.
Coach, Martera Hardesty, we didn't see him on the field. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, he twisted his knee in a drill the other day, so probably won't see him for a couple weeks, taking it real slow and conservative, and see where it is at that point.
Procedure on it, or is it just rehab?
No, we're just rehabbing it, and like I said, we're being really conservative. So,
you say if he was here, who would have been the guy taking the first snap in team drill?
Yeah, I think the best way to look at this, Tony, for a lot of positions is it's not really a depth chart; it's a rep chart. So, Jerome would have taken some of the snaps, Montero would have taken some of the snaps, and it would vary by period and by personnel group, because a lot of the things are personnel specific. So would have seen both of them out there with the ones. That was easy. All right.
You talked to Joe Hayden at all? Do you have an update on where the negotiations stand?
No, I have not talked to Joe. I know that Matt and Tom are working with his agent and his group, and hopefully we'll see him soon. But each day he's not here, it gets harder for him. And day 8, he hasn't been here, so a lot of information that's gone to this point. A lot of individual time that we've been able to spend with the rookies, and that's important. That's really, really important for these guys. We've had a lot of first-round draft picks where the ones that have gotten in early tend to get a better jump, and you can't get those days back, which is unfortunate. And he's going to have to come in and really spend some extra time outside of what we do in meetings and practice to get back to where all those other guys are right now. And there'll be a lot of rust where these other kids have had a chance to work out and be in pads and get through their conditioning run, probably starting to get their legs back a little bit because they did come in early. He's going to have to go through that whole process, which makes it a little tougher.
On Hardesty, he did have that injury history in college. Are you concerned?
Yeah, it wasn't anything related to those injuries, so it was nothing that was a pre-existing type situation.
Did you detect a chip, a healthy chip on Jerome's shoulder as this camp begins?
I've always found Jerome to be confident, and I like that in Jerome. He believes in himself. He believes in the things that he can do. I think he showed that he can back up that belief in himself, and he worked diligently last season to correct the things that we wanted him to correct, and I respect that. We sat down, talked about it, identified some areas, wanted to improve, and he did that. And I look for that same thing this season, and he'll have some great opportunities to show what he can do.
Eric, nothing's set completely in stone, but the quarterback position looks,
That's not even close.
but the quarterback position looks a lot more stable than it was a year ago when you took this football team over, and it seems to, that fact seems to have kind of rubbed off on the offense. Is that something, A, that you've noticed from your position, and also the benefit of that, not having as much drama surrounding this camp?
Yeah, it's I've really enjoyed getting to know both Jake and Seneca, and both guys who have experience, different levels of experience, but they've both played in games. And Jake is an older guy who's got a real presence, and he's got real control of the offense, and he's got a lot of respect, which is deserved for the things that he's been able to do. But he backs that up with his work ethic, and he backs it up with his leadership. So that's been fun. With Seneca, the same thing. He was really in one system for a long time, and had one set of terminology, and he's had to learn new terminology and new things, and that's difficult to do. And I think the progress that he's made from the spring to now is noticeable. And with Colt, he's a young guy, and he's learning, and he's got a lot to learn, but he has the right attitude, the right approach. And Brett is going to compete in that group, and he's got experience in the system, but not a lot of playing time. So it's a fun group to work with.
Very good. James Davis last year had a pretty good camp. Where was he at last year when you had the injury? What did you expect from him last year?
I don't think I had gotten to the point where I had set expectations with him. I was pleased with a lot of what he had done, especially in the preseason games. He had that one long run, I think it was against Detroit, which showed some of his ability to do that. One of the areas where James has to continue to improve, and all the guys, the young guys, and we work with them consistently on this, is on special teams. Because if you're not getting the bulk of the reps, you need to be a solid contributor on special teams. And oftentimes running backs in college don't play a lot of special teams, especially after they become the man and are carrying the ball for however many reps a game. So that's an area he needs to focus on and improve on, in addition to his offensive duties.
One returning player who looks noticeably bigger is Matt Roth, and he's listed, I think, as 275. That seems to be pretty high for a linebacker. How do you feel about that?
Well, Matt actually has played at that weight. He plays about 270, 275. He's a big linebacker, and that's the weight he was last year when we got him. It's what he played at. It's what he played at in Miami as well.
His ascribed playing weight then?
Yeah, that's I'm pretty comfortable with where he is at that weight. I don't think it affects his movements that much. He's pretty cut up.
After Quill missed all the offseason, does he, in most of last season, does he have to reestablish a role with this team, especially after adding a couple linebackers like you did?
Well, there's really good competition in there. There's quite a few guys that can play in there. There's quite a few guys who have started in there, and we'll look at all of them and all the different combinations of them. And with DeQuell, just in talking to him, there is some cobwebs that have to come off. He hasn't played in pads for quite some time, but I'm confident that he'll shake those off pretty quickly.
Does it mean anything? He looked like he was taking some first-team reps. I mean, that's what he came back into.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of competition and depth in there, so I'd look at that as more of a rep chart as well as opposed to a depth chart. And we do have a lot of packages, so there may be times where he's the first one in there, and then you look out there and it's the first group, but he's not in there, but that just may be defensive specific. So just let that unfold a little bit over the next couple of weeks.
When I was watching Fujita outside and Gokong inside, is that now do you sometimes switch those guys, or how do you?
You can. That's the nice thing about having guys that can play both, is you could play them inside or outside. They both have pretty close to the height you look for, to be able to go outside. And they both rush the passer. We'll work them in all the spots. They're smart too, so it's not like they're going to be overwhelmed by the information.
Could you tell us when Hardesty was hurt?
A couple days ago.
There was an internet report last week that said that Hayden did not look well in off-season workouts. I don't know if you're aware of it. Do you want to respond to that? Or
I wasn't aware of it, and
from,
yeah.
position?
I can tell you that a lot of rookies go through transition, a lot of corners go through transition, and they're not going to play as fast as they are early on because they're thinking and they're processing, and when you do that, you're not really playing to your ability, and that's something that I stressed. I sat down with the rookies for a long time before we left and just said, the more you can get on this stuff mentally, the quicker you're just going to be able to show who you are, as opposed to everything is processed. Everything has to be figured out in order to react. And then once you start getting it and you're just playing, then really you're seeing the player that he can be. And it takes time. It takes time. Each guy's a little different.
Was not participating today. He was on the bike doing stuff out there. But can you tell me what his situation was?
Yeah, he's just fighting a cold, so he should be back sooner rather than later.
Coach, what's your biggest concern going into this camp?
You know, I'd say my biggest priority is for us to make sure that we really build on the lessons last year. And there's a lot of guys who are here through the latter part of the season last year and understand what I'm looking for and what we need in terms of Browns football. And I really felt that we played that way at the end of the season. And you want to start at that point. And each of those guys that were here needs to be a teacher, needs to help that happen a lot quicker than it did last year. So it's getting to that point, understanding really how we play each game. And I've been happy with the work that guys have done and the way everybody's pitched in to make sure we get there a lot quicker.
You expect the players, obviously, to improve from year to year. Have you changed at all in the last year? Is anything different for you, or are you?
A few things have been different for me. Yeah, I'd say there's been a couple of changes around here. No, it's been great. It's been nice for me to, and we talked about this a lot in here. It's nice to have Mike and Tom and to be able to really focus on coaching, and that's been a huge plus. You go through every off season, you evaluate the things that you did, whether it be game to game or over the course of the season, and you look at each phase and you say, okay, that didn't work out very well, let's change it. And you try different things to see if it works out better. So I like to think that I do that each year and ask the coaches to do it each year, figure out how we can get better as a group. So going through that process.
Should we just generally assume you won't go full pads 2 practices in a row, or is that?
No, I wouldn't say you should assume that. We're not going to go full pads here this afternoon, but I don't think it's it varies. So there'll be some practices where it's 2 in a row, 3 in a row. It just changes.
Some of these guys have lost weight, like even Cribs. Was that a thing you stressed to them?
Cribbs hasn't lost that much weight. He could lose a little more weight. I thought you were talking about Dayball. Yeah, usually the reporting weight, you work with the trainer, you work with the strength coach, you look at historical reporting weights, and you get what you want the player to play at, his playing weight. and you set that, and that's what the guys come in. And then during the off season, there's usually a little bit of puffing up that goes on, and then you got to get them back down to their fighting weight.
8 linebackers who have started in this league fairly extensively, and I'm curious as to whether you feel you might be using that many guys based on specialties and based on situations, or do you feel like you might you're going to be narrowing it down to 4, 5, 6 guys who perform the best in training camp and preseason, and kind of using those guys more exclusively?
No, I think what you'll do is you'll look at which you're working on who's going to make the team, and then the group that makes the team, how are they going to fit in? So who makes the team, who goes to the game, and then what are they going to do when they go to the game? And some are going to have to play on special teams, so that's going to be a component of it. Some may play in the substituted defenses, nickel and dime, things like that, goal line, short yardage, maybe more run-specific defenses. So I think that there could be a lot of roles for a lot of different people, and meaningful roles. They're all meaningful roles. And it's much better to have that situation than 8 guys who haven't started any games.
Is Barton full go? I mean, I saw him out there. Can he do everything?
Yeah, he's full go, and kind of like DeQuell, he's getting back into the flow of things. It's been a long time since he's been able to hit as well.
How was he playing before he was injured, Barton?
I thought he was playing pretty well. Gotta rewind a little bit. Yeah, I thought he was playing pretty well. Eric has incredible command of the defense. And he makes other people play better because he's able to get the adjustments, he's able to get people lined up, he's able to anticipate plays, and that makes the defense play faster. So that's another real added value to a guy like him.
You gonna try to turn the heat up 10 degrees or something?
That I'm sure it's going to take care of itself. We had a really hot day the other day, and it's been a pretty good summer, I think. I had a great summer.
What did you do?
Hung out in Cape Cod with the boys, which was fantastic. And they're getting to that age now where they can do a lot of stuff and go to the beach and all that good stuff. So.
Cape before?
Yeah, we got a house there after we won the Super Bowl in New England. Brad Seeley said we had to change our life. And after you win a Super Bowl, you got to change your life. So we bought a house in Cape Cod, and our approach has been, no matter how much you move around this business, you want to have one place where the family goes every year, and it's consistent. And the boys will talk about it all year, the memories that we have there, and it's a really positive family thing. So it's been good stuff.
Can you say whether the 3 players on PUP are close to taking their physical, or are they different stages?
Yeah, I'd say they're all different stages. So I'd say, I'd say they're all different stages, Tony.
It hasn't really been bang up a summer here because of what happened in the NBA. Do you let the yearning for fans to latch on to that? You guys have always been the lead franchise really in town in popularity. Does that affect you at all, the thought that you wish you could accelerate the process?
Yeah, I want to accelerate it as quickly as possible. Yeah, it's if I could press the fast forward button, I would probably get carpal tunnel syndrome pressing it so much. So yeah, I want it as badly as anybody, and more importantly, I want to be able to provide that for everybody here. And it's a great group of people.
Just to clarify real quick, you said Monterio twisted the knee a few days ago. Was that during like a rookie practice out here?
It was during the when we had the rookies, injured players, and quarterbacks. Yeah.